I made a previous video called Black X-Men Not Named Storm, where I named 15 other characters in the X-Men universe that are black, but lesser known than Aurora Monroe, with the intention of putting a bigger spotlight on these characters. See the link in the description for that video. One of those characters was Roberto Da Costa, also known as Sunspot of the New Mutants. And not surprisingly, I got some misinformed people trying to tell me that he's not really black. But the truth is, Sunspot is black, and I do have the receipts, and yes, I'm going to show them, because the erasure of the blackness of the Sunspot character is unacceptable. First of all, let's take a look at Sunspot's origin. He's a founding member of the X-Men's first true spin-off comic called The New Mutants, making their first appearance in Marvel graphic novel number 4 in 1982. Of course, the ongoing New Mutants title after that, and his blackness is an integral part of his origin. Sunspot has the mutant power of solar radiation absorption. He also has the power of flight. He has superhuman strength, superhuman speed and reflexes, thermokinesis, photokinesis, and has dark solar plasma blast. He's definitely supposed to be a dark-skinned Brazilian, but does that make him actually black? Well, actually yes, because his father is supposed to be a Afro-Brazilian businessman, and his mother is a white archaeologist with red hair. So remember the rule, if you got any black in you, you're black. The 1/8 rule still applies because you are what the police say you are when they pull you over. And here's my biggest receipt, the actual panels where Sunspot makes his origin. As a teenager in Brazil dominating at soccer, where he gets bullied and then physically attacked for being black. We're going to go over this word for word in each panel. The people who questioned me didn't know about this, now did you? This first panel sets it up. It's in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And here's his father, a rich Afro-Brazilian named McLeod da Costa, along with Roberto's girlfriend at the time, Juliana Sandoval, watching him kick ass on the pitch. But here comes the racism, served cold on a platter. We had enough of you, half-breed. He grunts and falls flat on his face, and he gets up mad and says, the referee didn't call a foul. The fool didn't see anything. Roberto gets off the ground furious and tries to fight back against the guy who attacked him. But it doesn't go too well because the other guy is bigger and stronger than him. And he tells him as he punches him, I was hoping you'd pull a stunt like this, Da Costa. As he pummels him, he says, I may be thrown out of this game, but at least I had the satisfaction of beating you to a pulp. Your father's wealth can't change the color of your skin. You're still black, an animal masquerading as a human being. Well, I guess my work is done here now. Sunspot is identified as black by his attackers. Has a racial slur used against him. I mean, it's right there in his debut origin in Marvel Comics. So, yeah. But let's finish the story. His attacker says, you have no right to be here. Then says, huh? All the saints preserve me. He's turned into a monster. Run for your... And because this is an X-Men comic, his mutant abilities kick in for the first time under stress, and he flings the guy like a rag doll, and everyone starts to panic, and he doesn't know what's happening to him. This is the origin of Sunspot directly from the comics, and it proves he's black. And yes, I'm gloating how I'm right, and I'm shutting down all the detractors. His father is an Afro-Brazilian businessman named McLeod Da Costa, who made his debut in comics looking like this. Some other depictions of him have him looking like this, and like this. That's clearly a black man. Sunspot's mother was a white archaeologist named Nina Da Costa, often depicted with red hair, and here she is with her son. So this man and this woman produced a son who looks like this. So does that make him biracial? Yes. But does society still say you're black if you have a black parent? Also yes. Barack Obama had a black father and a white mother. He's black. Lenny Kravitz had a white father and a black mother. He's still black too. So no matter what combination of biracial you are, if you have black in you, you're black. If you don't accept the fact that people that are mixed with some type of black are still black, then I just can't help you, because that's what you are. You might as well own it. I'm looking at you, Tiger Woods, who try to come up with your own racial category, and society said, nope, you black. So are things different in Brazil? I'm not Brazilian, so I don't know all the rules, but I think they are a little bit. It was founded by Portuguese colonizers, and like the British participated heavily in the slave trade. So you have Portuguese-speaking black Brazilians, just like you have English-speaking black Americans. In Brazil, they break it down by like 5 different racial categories, which they call branca for white, parda for brown, preta for black, amarela for yellow. My apologies if I mispronounced any of these words. So somebody like Tom Brady's ex-wife Giselle would be branca. She's a white Brazilian. Former UFC champion Anderson Silva would be Petra for black. Whereas America is still majority white, where the census is saying that the population is about 61% Caucasian. Brazil is only about 48% white, but the white people still have all the power and privilege. So Sunspot is supposed to be mixed. However, his attackers don't see it that way. His father is black, so they consider him black as well. So if you're trying to troll and blow up my theory on this, you're going to have to work extra hard. I think what caused some of the confusion on the ethnic background of this character is the fact that he's been depicted in so many different ways. All of these are different interpretations of what the Sunspot character is supposed to look like. How dark his skin is or isn't has changed a lot, and how kinky or not kinky his hair is has also changed a lot. This version right here is the blackest version of him ever. Also adding to the confusion is the inaccurate depictions of him in live-action movies. In X-Men Days of Future Past, released in 2014, he was played by this actor, Adán Canto, who was a Latin actor of Mexican heritage. I got nothing against Mr. Canto. He recently passed from appendicitis cancer. May he rest in peace. But having a Latin actor of Mexican heritage play a biracial Afro-Brazilian makes no freaking sense, considering the Fox X-Men movies didn't have any black mutants besides Storm, Bishop, Callisto played by Afro-Dominican, and shamelessly killing Darwin in First Class very quickly. Fox failed at giving us enough black mutants. But then they said, hold my beer, and it only got worse. And the travesty that was the New Mutants that came out in 2020, a pandemic era movie that most people forgot or never knew existed. The Sunspot character looked like this. Oh boy. This actor's name is Henry Zaga, and he actually is Brazilian. However, he's a white passing Brazilian. Nothing against Henry either. I'm sure he's a fine guy, but once again, Sunspot's essential comic book origin is that he's picked on, bullied, called racial slurs, and attacked because he's black, which I just went over. So whoever made the decisions in casting over at Fox about what Sunspot should look like was racially insensitive or massively ignorant, or both. For those who don't understand or who are not black, and wondering why I'm so adamant and defiant on this subject, is because there's never been enough high-profile black superheroes in the first place. For decades, Marvel only seemed to care about Black Panther, Luke Cage, and Storm, and DC only seemed to care about Cyborg and John Stewart. I'm not saying these are the only black superheroes they had, but these are the ones that became high-profile, they got the headliner title, get something important to do. Image Comics gave it Spawn in the 90s, which was great, and the only reason people heard of Blade was because of the movies, but they hardly used him in the comic. It wasn't until 2011 when Marvel created Miles Morales that Marvel even seemed to care to push black superheroes beyond their big three. So with so few black superheroes, why would you have a character as Afro-Brazilian and basically turn him white when you used him in the movie? Hollywood has a long history of whitewashing. This is the practice of taking a real or fictional character and turning them into a white person when they were a person of color. And here are some of the best, worst examples. John Wayne, who was an icon in American movies in the Golden Age, for some reason that makes no sense, was cast to play Genghis Khan in the movie The Conqueror in 1956. Khan was actually a historical important figure. He was an Asian man of Mongolian heritage. Putting a white guy in dark makeup and giving him a Fu Manchu is just embarrassing. Then there's Natalie Wood in West Side Story in 1961, where she's supposed to be the lead female character that's Puerto Rican. Natalie wasn't even Latin, she's white. And you may be thinking to yourself, oh, this was a long time ago. Hollywood's gotten better since then, right? Well, not really. In the movie A Mighty Heart from 2007, Angelina Jolie plays a character that's supposed to be Afro-Cuban. Johnny Depp plays Tonto in The Lone Ranger. The character is supposed to be Native American. Johnny Depp is not. Ben Affleck's character in Argo is based on a real-life CIA operative who's Latin of Mexican heritage. Ben Affleck is not Latin. Now, of course, there's Scarlett Johansson in The Ghost in the Shell. The main lead character in the story is specifically supposed to be a Japanese cyborg. If you had to take Scarlett Johansson and bronze her up to make her look darker and make her hair black, to make her look more Japanese, then you should just cast a Japanese woman in the first place. I mean, Olivia Munn was available. She's of Japanese heritage. She played a great Psylocke in Days of Future Past. Problem solved. Jake Gyllenhaal played the lead in The Prince of Persia. He's not Middle Eastern. I'm assuming they wanted a big name to sell the project, but they should have chose Maureen Kanzari, who is Middle Eastern of Tunisian descent, and he played the hell out of Jafar, the villain in the Aladdin live-action movie. You're probably wondering what I think about Tropic Thunder while you're here. Iron Man himself, Robert Downey Jr., going in blackface to play that role. Actually, I didn't have any problem with this because the movie is a satire, and it's using this racist trope to make fun of this racist trope, and other Hollywood excesses showing just how out of touch they are. So it's Hollywood making fun of itself, basically saying, this is pretty stupid. Let's not do this anymore. So Tropic Thunder is making fun of this old trope, but The Lone Ranger, Prince of Persia, Mighty Heart, Argo, Ghost in the Shell, they're all doing this with a straight face, showing just how unaware, ignorant, clueless, insensitive, and unperceptive Hollywood can be. Dude, you don't have to put a white face on everything. The actor Ben Kingsley won the Oscar for Best Actor for playing Gandhi. Ben's biological father is Indian, so there's talent available for whatever ethnic group you want to portray in live action. Hollywood is either being lazy, insensitive, or just racist. Now, I know what some trolls are going to do. They're going to show up here and say, you're a hypocrite, Comic Power. There's white characters that were race-wise swapped into black. That's a very complicated subject, and I did make a video specifically about that. See a link in the description. But in a nutshell, with so few black characters to use, why would you turn any of them white? And for the record, the practice of racial swapping for diversity, I think should be retired now, because you have enough black characters at this point. You just have to develop them more and put them out there. And Marvel's been doing that with the creation of Riri Williams, aka Ironheart, the increased roles of characters like Synch in the X-Men universe, Moon Girl getting a push with her own animated series. Over at DC, they're finally starting to use Nubia after ignoring her for nearly 50 years. So the black characters exist, you just need to give them some more development. So I think that's something that all of us can agree on, who are on the left or the right politically. Take the black characters you have and develop them and stop swapping. Can we all agree on that? Okay then, let's continue. Marvel has decided to give a big platform to the Sunspot character in X-Men the animated series, which is X-Men 97, not a reboot, but just a continuation of the original story. Man, it's awesome. It's the best thing since sliced bread. And let's just say they're not messing around. There are consequences in this thing. Remy LeBeau, Gambit, you're a real hero. Remember it. If you remember, the first episode in X-Men 92 has Jubilee getting hunted down and have to be saved by the X-Men. So in X-Men 97, it's Sunspot who's in danger and has to be rescued by the X-Men. And Jubilee winds up becoming a mentor and a romantic interest for this character. So it's a very good progression of the Jubilee character to allow her to grow up. And a great introduction for Sunspot. His look at his ethnic identity looked much closer to his 1982 debut, which is fine because the curators, Chris Claremont and Bob McLeod, that's what they had intended in the first place. At the time I make this video, we're about 6 episodes in, so they haven't explained his full background. And he's kind of reluctant to use his powers so far, but it's coming. So I think I proved everything I need to show you that Sunspot actually is black. Like I told you, I came armed with receipts directly from the source material in the comics, which specifically says he's black. Feel free to speak up in the comment section. Do you have any favorite Sunspot storylines from the comics? Are there any Afro-Brazilians out there in real life that want to speak up on the board? Are you feeling the budding romance between Jubilee and Sunspot in the animated series? As I stated previously, I did make a video about race swapping. Why it was needed in the first place, about how all the hate was unnecessary and just political, and my take on why it should be just retired at this point. So be sure to watch that while you're here. Hit the like button, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, this is Comic Killer 72 for Comic Power saying bye-bye.